Hello, and welcome to Unexplained Possibilities Podcast. I'm your host, Melvin the Crimson Taurus, and unfortunately, Niyama can't be here with us tonight. She'll be back next month with a special guest. However, that's the future, and right now, here in the present, I am being joined by a rather awesome person. She's been walking her path since the young age of 9 years old, coming into her own, I guess you could say, gifted abilities. I say your last name right, Diagnos?
It's actually D'Agnese, but that's okay.
Diagnos.
But he's mispronounced it my entire life, so
Okay.
it's nothing.
Well, welcome aboard. I'm a butcher of names, but thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Yeah.
And hello, everyone in chat. Wow, people showed up sooner than I expected, so that's always a plus. And
Hey, thanks guys for coming on.
yeah. So how are you doing tonight?
I am fantastic. How are you doing?
Not bad. Had some Chinese, got a workout in. Now I'm talking to you. So I am good, good, good.
I had pizza. I had frozen pizza. I
Frozen.
didn't burn it. So that was an accomplishment for me.
Okay. Hey, take the W however you can get the W.
I can talk to dead people. Can I cook? No.
Well, that's okay. Yeah, talking to dead people's kind of cooler anyway.
I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
Sometimes, except for when I'm trying to sleep.
Oh, they come to you when you're sleeping.
Well, it comes along with it, like with just having, first off, anybody can have this ability. This is not something that all of a sudden, like, poof, you're a medium, poof, you're a medium, so not all mediums are psychic, not all psychics are mediums, but all mediums are psychic. Okay, so that means is that what I do is I'm able to communicate with our loved ones that have passed over. I prefer the fifth dimensional beings and above, and the most optimism, positivity, and love and light of God. I'm very direct about that. I want my damn angels.
Yeah, who doesn't though?
I have done work with third dimensional beings, which are souls and beings that have decided that they want to stay on this earthly plane for whatever their reason being is. I prefer not to. But yes, back to your thing about sometimes not sleeping at night. I think that's probably how this all initially developed for me, of recognizing that maybe I was a little odd, maybe I was a little different. I think that I know that some people it's really just, some people are really good at math. Some people are really good at art. Some people, I can't draw, I only do stick figures. So sorry, that's my dog in the background. I have a German Shepherd Husky mix, so she makes noises.
She's just saying hello.
She's like, hi. So the thing is that I lost track where we're at. I'm super ADHD.
Oh,
So
okay. I notice most psychics are actually, so
I'm like all over the place all the time. And it's amazing because when I'm doing my readings or when I'm doing my YouTubes, it's like spiritual medicine for me. I get super focused and I really like, it does a lot for my energy in helping me have that time where it's not so clouded and there's not so much. Oh, I know what I was saying. Yes, anybody can develop this gift. For me, it just happened to be something that I had this natural progression with of doing well with. It does run in my family. My great grandmother was from Salem, Massachusetts, Linfield, Massachusetts area. And I was told that she actually had her own abilities of being very psychic and was a card reader. I found her cards. They're called Gypsy Witch cards. When I was about 6, I found them, and I was just learning to read at the time. So I had the little book with it, showing me like how to lay them out and stuff. But I didn't really want to read it. I just took the cards and laid them out in front of me, in front of my Barbie dolls, and I had no idea what I was doing or why. But I had this real fascination with it all. So if you guys are finding that, you have this interest and you don't know where it's coming from, it might just be because your guides are telling you this is something that you should look into about yourself. you
Okay.
know.
So, evidential intuitive medium. I've never heard it put that way before. What is that?
So I'm choosy. I was choosy about my words when I chose to use that name. And the reason why is because I never liked the word psychic. It always made me feel like remember in the 80s they had the commercials for like Miss Cleo.
Oh, yes. Call me now for your free reading.
Yeah. Yeah. So, plus my dad was a Baptist minister.
Oh,
So brought up with a really strict faith background system of like you're not supposed to talk to dead people, you don't know if you're really communicating with the devil, all those things. And so I didn't feel comfortable using the word psychic with my name. Just didn't like the connotation to it, but it is true, I am psychic. Like we were saying before the podcast, it's too bad I can't help myself, I can help everybody else. Seems like. But evidential means that what I do is I get very specific. Um, so I get names, I get first letters of names, I get dates, like specifically numbers, months. I'll get very specific details about a memory that I'm seeing in my mind, but that's called my clairvoyance. But it's not my memory. I'll see somebody and like in my mind's eye, not with my eyeballs because that would freak me out. So that's a rule I have with my guides nowadays is I don't really want to see dead people standing in front of me with my eyeballs. um,
evidently you must have saw something that just like, nope.
Yep, that's exactly what happened to me though, because back in the Miss Cleo eras, like we were talking about back in the 80s and 90s, there wasn't Google. You couldn't go on Google and look this up and get the information you can nowadays. There wasn't a John Edwards yet. There wasn't a James Van Praagh yet that was out there to all of us like how they are now, or John Holland. Those are just like my top three. And where it was like so taboo too with my religious background. It's just kind of it's been a progression of involvement over my entire life. When I was a kid, I remember I used to have a lot of problems with being touched at night. So as a little kid in my bed, like under the age of 10, were like my earliest memories. I would hear angels singing. I would get like physically touched, and I used to sleep a certain way at night. I used to take my blanket and like wrap it around my head so just my eyeballs would be pretty much sticking out because I had this being that would touch my hair like this, or like go like this to my ear, or rub my arm.
Oh,
Not
no.
anything negative, not anything trying to hurt me, not anything. I mean, I know this now. I actually know it was my great grandmother that was with me. We called her Old Nana.
Oh,
But at the time, when you're a little kid and you're that a lot of kids have a huge psychic ability before the age of 7, and it's kind of grown out of them and translated out of them by society because people just are like, that's not true, that's not real, that's not really happening.
mhm.
Um, so I had this happen a lot, and I knew it was real. I knew I wasn't making it up, and then I ended up, say I was about 10. I moved to a really haunted house, very haunted house. The woman that owned it, the story goes that she hung herself in the banister in our living room right during the Civil War because her husband and son got killed. And her name was Mary Cobb. And we actually had my bedroom, creepily enough, overlooked the cemetery. And it was just like this small family cemetery. I grew up in New Hampshire, and this was in Belmont. And so I had started getting a lot of experiences that I wasn't used to. So before I started seeing with my eyes, I started feeling like, that feeling when somebody's just looking at you,
Yep.
or yeah, like the hairs on the back of your neck would stand up, you
Mhm.
know. I get that. I get those sensations a lot. I and I'd have this hyper awareness about it, that it was like, I just know somebody's staring at me. Other times, things would just happen in the house. Like we were watching the show Rescue 911. Do you remember that show?
Yep. I couldn't watch it, but I know the show. I'm
Were you
bad.
those too violent?
It was just I feel bad.
I feel bad.
I just do. I'm a softie.
Oh my God. So we were watching the show in the living room, and where apparently she had hung herself from there was like a walk above us where there were stairs going up to the second floor, and there was a light, and the only way to turn it on was by grabbing the light switch and pulling it down. The light wasn't even on, it was off, and the whole family was gathered in the living room, pets and all. And all of a sudden, the light bulb just completely exploded and shattered the light wasn't even on. It made no sense. We had a family Bible that every time we went to church on Sundays, the Bible would be open to a different page in a different room in our house. And then I remember significantly, like, my bedroom door was here, and then right here was the attic door. And the attic door had like a walk up the stairs. Sorry, my dog.
It's okay.
And literally the doorknob, I would watch the handle just literally turn. Yeah. And I remember telling my mom, I started getting angry because she kept telling me I was making it up, or it was all in my head. It was just my imagination. But this had been over 2 years of time that all of these crazy things had been happening, all these feelings and sensations I was getting. And it was frustrating. And then one day, finally, my sister was sharing a bedroom with me. The crib was next to my bed. And all of a sudden, I woke up out of nowhere. Hold on one second. My dog is...
Yeah, no problem.
She doesn't usually go this nuts. Jesse, come on.
Yeah, sorry. It's okay. It's part of the stream. At this point, I expect it. If we're not having technical difficulties, it's something else.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
Yeah. And she just went back in my room. This is great. All right. So anyway, finally one night I woke up in the middle of the night and my room was really cold, freezing cold. And I saw an apparition standing right in front of my sister's crib. And she's still mad at me about this because she's like, why wouldn't you jump up and take me out of the crib? She's 8 years younger than me. And I was like, because I wasn't getting up.
Yeah, forget that. Save yourself. Darn it.
Yeah, man.
You know what? I'm happy you mentioned imagination a second ago because you actually have a question from Slim Lewis. Hey, Slim. And he asks, how do you differentiate what's the imagination versus actually connecting with those of the deceased?
That is such a great question. That's such a great question. That question right there was the question that I asked a really well-known medium that I know. I hear my cat in the background. I'm sorry.
Now the cat.
Let me try this one more time. Hold on.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, guys.
Yeah, hope everyone is having a good night, and thank you so much for being here with us. Really appreciate it. And
sorry, guys. I have a dog that isn't getting attention right now, so she's all.
Yeah, so it's okay. Everyone's an animal lover here, and if they're not allowed. So you're good.
You can't get more laid back than me, okay? So, the question that I wanted to refer back to, Jamie Butler had asked this question too, who's a really fantastic medium. And at the time, this was about I'd say 12 years ago, I was trying to figure out exactly what it was I was doing, how it all worked. I mean, I never really figured it out, but I asked her that question and she responded with, well, she said, Abbie, it's a thought that kind of lands on your shoulder. And it's not a thought that you're putting thought into. So if I tell you to, think of a kitchen, think of in the kitchen a table. Now on that table, there's a bowl. What's in the bowl? Think about it. What do you want to be in that bowl on the table?
Some strawberries.
There you go. Right now, who's standing in front of that table with you? Your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother?
I reckon it would be my mom.
Yeah. Are you going to share the strawberries with your mom?
Heck no, I'm selfish.
Oh my God. You're cruel.
I know, but it's the truth. I'm honest.
See, if it was chocolate, I wouldn't share with my mom, but it's
Well,
strawberries.
all the ladies love chocolate, so
So the point is that do you see how you have to put thought into that?
yes.
Hey, what do you want on the kitchen table? Who is standing with you out of your family members? Like you have to put thought into that. These thoughts, okay, that come to me and come to my mind, it's called my clairvoyance, okay, and they are not thoughts I'm having of my own. All right, they are not things I'm really putting too much thought into. And I'm going to give you the best example that I give all of my clients. I teach mediumship 101 all the way up to advanced classes. And I always say, imagine driving down the road, you hit a stop sign. And at that stop sign, you look left and you look right. And then all of a sudden, a little voice tells you in your brain, now this is a stop sign you've been to a million times. You know this road. But this little voice in your brain tells you, maybe I should look left one more time. And as you do, a car goes by at 90 miles an hour. Any other day, you would have not hesitated to just go. But then that little voice in your head told you, just look left one more time, and that saved your life. Times does that happen to you?
That you're actually making me think of something like, because it doesn't happen too much anymore, but when I was younger, I remember hearing a woman, and it always sounded like she was shouting, probably the best way to get through my thick skull. And every time I heard that shout or something, it was just stop me in my tracks and not do something or whatever. And it's a good thing too, because it was some weird, crazy accident that happened where if I would have gone out or whatever, I would have been in the middle of it. So
Yeah.
that's
That's exactly what I'm talking
yeah.
about, though. That is being a medium. That's using what's called, we'll not say the word medium, we'll say intuition. Okay, that's using your intuition. Everybody is built in, it's built into our DNA, okay, to have intuition. All right, it's our gift of guidance from God, from source energy, we'll say. We won't even say God. We'll say source energy, source being, whatever you choose to prefer, whether that be Buddha, whether that be, Allah, it doesn't matter. Source energy. Okay, I prefer God. That's what I would choose to use as a pronoun.
All good.
And so, everybody has this ability. It's just that mine just happens to be a little stronger than others. And again, I do think that it's because of the fact that it runs in my family from multiple ways. And I can't spell the word vacuum, but like some people are really great and gifted at spelling the word vacuum for the first time, right? This is something that it can be developed. It can be anybody can. It's just a matter of figuring out what your faith-based system even is to begin with. I think that's the most important first step. What do you believe? And what feels good to you? When I was 9, I told you my dad was a Baptist minister. Reincarnation is not in the Bible. Nope. I remember getting in arguments with him at Thanksgiving and getting sent up to my room because I don't know how I knew. I just really, really, really believed in reincarnation. And that word shouldn't honestly have, now that I'm looking back, that shouldn't have even been in my vocabulary. I don't know how I knew that word. How would I know that word? Back in the, late 80s, early 90s, I was in a town that had like 300 kids in the entire school.
Ooh.
So it's not something that was mainstream for me.
Yeah.
And so I look back on it now, I'm like, well, it made sense. It's because it made sense. That word was exactly what it was that I felt like was real for me. And I just was always had this real like understanding about certain things that I would read or that I would see or ways I was being trained to believe with my religious background. Some of it I was very like, yes, absolutely, like my guardian angel. I totally, it felt good. It felt instinctually right. And then there were other things that I don't know how I knew. I just knew. Okay, that's called your cognizance. Okay, it's the knowing. I just knew certain things were just not accurate. The things were not right with my faith-based system of what my Abbie essence believed. So that's, I think, part of your first step too. If anybody does answer this question or have this question they want to ask, is really developing your own thought processes of where you came from, how you got here, chicken before the egg, all of that, you know.
So I'm personally a believer in everything and nothing. So what that pretty much means is if you believe it's true, then it's true, even if I don't believe it's true. So what's right for you may not be right for me, but what's right for me may not be right for you. So I believe in
Well,
everything and nothing.
that goes along with, I mean, honestly, this is only one dimension.
Mm.
That we have multiple dimensions that are going on at the same time. I mean, we think of time as a linear thing, where time is not linear. It actually like twists and turns and comes around. So you could be living multiple existences all at the same time. And all of these existences be making different decisions. And I know that that's a really like, right? But if you think about it, I mean, you always have choice. God gave us choice. We have our free will to decide. Okay. What we want to do and where we want to go. And then we have these really beautiful beings that are with us at all times, that are helping us, guiding us, and showing us through not just our thought processes that we think are ours. It might be our own voice in our mind. When I hear somebody's voice, it's not always that person's voice, or sometimes it starts coming through as my own sound of my voice. And then as that spirit starts to go, okay, she's really listening, they start to really like open up more, and honestly, it's more me, it's more my vibration, because I always get nervous. Like, it does not matter who I do a reading in front of. It could be somebody I've known my entire life. It could be somebody I have never met. It could be a celebrity. It doesn't matter. I get nervous,
And
you know.
I think that's a good thing. And the reason why I think getting nervous is a good thing because it says that you're number one, you're unsure, and number two, you're not putting something out there in advance. It's like, I don't know what's going to come through. This could go good. It could go bad. I'm nervous about it. I'm not
Well,
cocky or arrogant
I was brought up on a small family farm. My parents really didn't have two pennies to rub together. I was the oldest of four kids. And I just really understood the value of hard work and honesty and authenticity and being sincere. I think that, you know, to have somebody put their trust in me, to talk to me on about the things that are the most important to them on the deepest levels they might not talk to other people about, because that's exactly what I'm doing, and to put that kind of faith in me. And then also their hard work, their money that they worked for, to have them ask me and do a paid reading for them. It's like, this is where the evidential side of me gets in my own way, because now I'm like, oh, I just want to give them everything. Like, thank you for having faith in me and just being here with me. And I just want to like make you feel like you're getting everything out of this that you expected. And that's where I have to kind of stop, because, I shouldn't do that. It's not up to me. If spirit has this much time to communicate with me, right? Let's say your grandmother. Okay, let's say your grandmother's coming through
Mhm.
and you haven't communicated with your grandmother since she crossed over in 1992, and you're telling her, grandma, I'll know it's you if you say the word apple, and your grandmother tells you everything, like so much great advice, so much great information, and her tonality is correct with her voice. She looks exactly how I'm describing her looks, and she looks exactly how she did for you, and I'm giving you the month of May, which, by the way, May must be important to you somehow, because I am picking up the month of May for you.
Right? I would have to think about it.
It could be a significant like birthday. It could be anything like that. So it's significant somehow. So just look at the month of May. I almost started going in on a reading on you.
No, don't do that. You can't read me. Not the host, darn it.
So that brings up another good point, though, that a lot of people don't talk about. Not everybody's open to a reading.
Yeah,
Gypsy, knock it off. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
She doesn't usually act this way. So.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Something just hit me.
Who's
So,
that?
ironically, my grandmother's name is Bertha May.
There you go.
Yeah. How
A
funny.
big fat Greek wedding, and the guy says, and there you go.
Yeah. So no one would actually know that. So yeah.
Mistakes. There's no irony. There's synchronicity. Okay, so it was synchronistic that I happened to bring up grandmother, and then I said, by the way, the month of May is important to you, and your grandmother is crossed over, and the month of May is her birthday. That's what's evidential about me. That's the perfect example of what makes an evidential medium separate from somebody else. I couldn't have guessed that. Did I? I mean, we didn't talk about any of this before. So, also the month of August, or I'm getting the number 8, is also some significance to you as well. But I'm going to start doing a reading for you because we're going to talk about something different, which is, I do pick things up sometimes really strong. It makes it very difficult. I'm an X-ray technician. I was working in hospitals. I saw a lot of life and a lot of death. And I've seen a lot of things, a lot of crazy things. Worse than Rescue 911, okay? Okay. Way worse than Rescue 911.
Yeah, I wouldn't last. I can't do it. Like, no, I just show me rainbows. I'm good.
I'm more empathetic towards animals.
Yeah. No, like same thing.
I'm like, your arm that sucks. I'm sorry. Just sit still so I can get this X-ray. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I can't. I don't know. I don't do good around pain and people hurting, animals hurting. I can't.
My mind. That's when I cry. Yeah, that's when I cry is with animals. But animals have souls too.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And they also live multiple lifetimes. So that's kind of cool to know. I actually just did a YouTube about that recently. But what were we talking about? I got off track. Oh yeah, your grandmother.
Well, no, it was after my grandmother, and
people don't want readings.
People who don't want readings, and you were talking about
really strong sensations. So you'll see like TV shows like with Teresa Caputo, right? Long Island.
Yep.
And they'll be like, the producers on the show, which I don't know because I've never actually been on the show. I've never actually seen it. Nothing like that. I mean, I've seen the show, but I don't know her. But she'll talk to people in grocery store lines and in parking lots and things. I definitely pick things up. I think for me, it's just that. And sometimes what happens, and you can see it in her, is she'll lick her lips. I get this real strong push, like I need to say something to somebody. And you know what? I always ask first. I just really want to tell you something. I'm a medium, and I feel like there's this message coming through. Would it be okay if I give you this message? And sometimes they say no. And as soon as that happens for me, it shuts down. Like all of the messages and everything that was going to come through. So I like that part about it. That so far they haven't still pushed me and persist if somebody really doesn't want a reading.
Oh, that's always a good thing. And a couple of questions for you.
Yeah, hold on. And I don't know why my dog is. This is what she does sometimes when I do readings. When she's in here with me, sometimes she'll sleep calmly. Other times, because there's lots of spirit around me, I'm like a moth to a flame when it comes to because of how open I am.
Yeah.
So my pets get very on me. So I'm actually asking one of my guides right now to calm my dog down, and my dog just started getting quiet. So
calm down, please. What's your dog's name?
Gypsy.
Jesse. Calm down,
Gypsy.
Wait, say that again.
Gypsy.
See, butcher of nerd. Okay, so Gypsy, calm down. You're good. You're gonna get a milk bone later. Promise, maybe. Don't quote me on that. So come on. Good.
Let me push her out of my room again, and then you can ask me the question.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Again, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it. And my what? No, I am not married. I am very much single. Where the heck did you get that from, Harley?
My art?
No. Someone asked where my wife was, and I was like, I am very much single. I have no wife. That'll be news to me. Okay, so your questions. The first one is from Noella, and she would like to know if you have to. Well, you kind of answered this in a weird way, but if you have to meditate to receive messages, or is it random throughout your day?
I love these questions. These are great questions. So, first off, there's no mistakes in the questions. I do this a lot. I answer the question before it's asked.
Yeah.
Because I'm a psychic. I'm Miss Cleo.
Call me now.
Oh, man. So, I'm sorry. What was the question?
If you have to meditate to
Meditate.
communicate, or it happens throughout the day.
One of my best friends is also a medium. Her name's Heather Hilton Harford. She's very, very gifted. She's incredible. She's from the state of Maine. And she will not. She's worse than me with the ADD part of it. Like, you cannot pin this girl down to get her to meditate for 5 seconds, let alone for 5 minutes or an hour. I, on the other hand, I'm different than her. I found my way through meditation and being able to, that's where I get my like soul healing. Like, my guides, they come in, and they help realign my chakras. That's my time with, yes, I do believe in Jesus. That sometimes I just need a hug and I'm having a bad day and I'm just like, this is really tough. Jesus is really hard. Like, I want to kill my kid right now. It's just, this is my time that I get for myself to be in the quiet. I think the hardest thing with meditation is learning to quiet your mind. And once you can learn how to focus that and quiet your mind, that helped me tenfold with being able to do this work, because that's my time. Nobody can take that away from me. Nobody can read my thoughts. That's my time, my space with my guides and my team to just reassess. And again, sometimes it's no more than just like getting a hug from, one of my guides that I just really needed, or just thinking about a tropical sunset, what that's doing for me, on a frequency and vibration level, is it's making me even. It's grounding me. If you've ever heard of the term grounding.
Oh, of course.
I have like this really great ability that I have a hard time staying in my body. So what that means is that at almost all times, I'm a little bit in and I'm a little bit out. It takes a lot of work for me to just like stay completely centered and stay in. The only time I am really is probably when I'm doing my readings.
That's interesting. So the readings, in a weird way, ground you, and
yes,
just like, whoa, we're going at a different pace.
It's the only time that I can really focus and have my mind quieted enough.
Oh, that's interesting.
And practice. This wasn't something that was just like all of a sudden I was like, I am a medium. Like, I'm going to say something significant for you. No way. Like, I have a Facebook group, Bright Side Medium, and I have videos on there from like when I first started doing my business. And I didn't want to use my name. That's why I used Bright Side Medium. And I had a sunflower as my logo, because can't help but smile when you look at a sunflower, right?
Of course.
And my first videos were just like anybody's first videos would be, nervous and distracted and trying to figure it all out. But it just took consistency of trying. And with meditation, it's consistency. It's trying to do it. It's and sometimes I would fall asleep and I'd get so frustrated because I'd be like, oh, I was really supposed to meditate today. And then one of my friends who is a medium, Veronica Drake, she works through the Channeling Eric platform and she has her own, and she's a really amazing person and medium. She said to me, she gave me the advice once that she said, well, what's the big deal then? She said, if you fell asleep, you fell asleep. Maybe you just need to honor that your body needed sleep and let yourself sleep. You know, it's all right. We're just we're energetic beings. We're all energy, right? I think we can all agree on that. Our bodies have energy.
Yeah,
And
I think so.
I honor that. Yeah. My way of honoring it is trying to bestill my mind and bestill my pets, which are constant tonight.
Now, sometimes I tell people, because unfortunately not everyone can get to that silence, so I tell them to do it this way. Don't worry about the silence and instead focus on the loudest voice and cut everything else out and focus on that one thing. And in a way, you create a weird type of silence because you're shutting it out except for that one thing. And you can go from there.
And there you go. That's perfect. There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer to how your ability to meditate is or what you even think about. I think of the craziest stuff sometimes when I'm trying to get my mind quiet and get myself into that vibrational space of meditation.
Yeah, I just think about food. So. Just give me something to eat. I'm cool.
You want those strawberries on that table?
Some strawberries, chicken wings, bacon wrapped shrimp. Oh God, bacon wrapped shrimp.
See, if
this diet.
You're me and you're Boston, you'd be wanting a lobster roll.
Lobster. I don't think I've ever had a lobster roll. I've had lobster.
You speak it not.
Yeah, I had lobster, but never a lobster roll.
It's not real lobster unless it's from like New England. So.
That's what I hear, but oh well. Okay, so the second question, this one's complicated, but it is from Nick. Hello, Nick.
Hi, Nick.
If I am not the same person I was when I was 5, how can I be the same person after I die? What is different about me after my physical body dies, and what continues?
Did you have a walk-in, Nick? There's actually a thing called a walk-in. I can explain that later if you want. Remind me. You know I won't remember. Okay, so think about the person you were when you were 5. I know when I don't really remember being 5, I'm not gonna lie. But you know what? It wasn't much later. It was probably around 6, 7, 8 that I found, the deck of cards for the first time. And I had an interest in it. I also at 5 was really interested in my Barbie dolls. Back in the 80s, we had Barbie in the rocker, and you probably had like He-Man and stuff.
That would have been G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. Now, why are you not the same? Are you still into G.I. Joe?
Look, I'm a big nerd, so I'm into a lot of things I really shouldn't be into at my age, but, maybe not as into G.I. Joe.
Their profile for you. Everything you jot down that you are into.
People don't need to know that.
Okay, I'm just joking around because you know what? There are characteristics of you that make you authentically you. And you know what those are, Nick. You don't need to say that they're different. Maybe you found like I call it my Abbie essence. I have always been who I've been. There's a piece of you that will always be you. That will always be the same. There's that inside of you. It's called your soul. What I think you're referring to is you've learned a lot since you were 5, which has shaped and informed your mind and helped you grow and mature and change and evolve, right? So with evolvement comes judgment. And with judgment, it can be difficult because the older you get, it's almost like you're supposed to have all the answers. You're supposed to just know things. You're supposed to just know stuff, right? But I'm 41 and I don't know shit about fuck. Sorry, am I allowed to swear on here?
Oh yeah, swear all you want. It's fine. Don't worry. Yeah,
If
you're good.
anybody's watched Ozark on Netflix, they will appreciate that comment. Okay. But no, there's a piece of you that I can say, like, I know that 5-year-old Abbie is a piece of me still, and there are characteristics. There are characteristics about me that when in the very far future, not anytime soon, I am not here on this side, I am on the other side of the veil, will come through. One of them is I laugh really easy. I laugh when I'm uncomfortable, but I just laugh anyway, and I love to smile. You know, another thing is that I think I'm a sweet and I think I'm a nice person. Another thing is that there are certain things that I think are funny or interesting. Um, Another characteristic, there's a lot of physical characteristics that come through to me because, like I said, I see things. So I'll see somebody's physical characteristics that they'll show me that will make them very individual. But let's say we take all the physical characteristics out. I'm sorry, but when your mother's talking to you. Even let's say your mother passed away 10 years ago, right? Your mom's tone. You know what she would think is funny. You know how she would I wish I could imitate people's laughs. But I'm really terrible at imitating people's laughs. But I can usually be very good at identifying. That's actually the thing I like best about myself, about the kind of mediumship that I do, is I'm very into having the ability to help you define somebody's characteristics. So the things that were important to you or special to you that would help you know, yep, that's my grandpa. I'll give you an example. I was doing readings on Saturday, and this woman, she was so nice. Her husband's father was coming through, or no, her husband's grandfather was coming through. And when I said something, I said it in just the right way, in just the right tonality, and just exactly what he would have said. And she was like, "Oh my God, that sounds exactly like him." I mean, I'm a female. Do I sound like him? No. But the tonality, the phrase, the way that I said it was his characteristic being brought through. And that's how you can bring through 5-year-old Nick, you know?
Adding on to that, I think we're also all kids at heart as well. So even though we may mature and things are layered upon us, we're still kids. So we change, but I don't think we change. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like pretty much what I was trying to say
Yeah.
is the 5-year-old me, I still feel like is me. I just know a lot. I should know things better by now, but I mean, clearly I don't.
And
41, still never married.
you
That's me.
you you just received a compliment.
I did.
Yeah, you come across extremely genuine.
Thank you.
And Nick says,
Blind shirt.
and Nick says, "Thank you. That was a deep and thoughtful answer. Thank you."
I
Uh,
really appreciate your question, Nick. I appreciate all your questions. I love these questions. These
well,
are so.
here's one I misunderstood earlier. You don't actually have to answer this because it's going places. But Harley, now I get what she was saying, wants to know, when is my future wife showing up? And Harley, unfortunately, there's actually no true way of answering that. And the reason why is because I am not the marrying type. So,
And I'm 41 and I've never been married. So you want to ask us really that question?
yes. So I'm not the marrying type. I will never get married. I know they say never, but in this case, eh,
Actually, I want to talk to Harley for a second.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll lecture you in a minute, but first we're going to talk to Harley. Okay, Harley, here's the thing. All right. I could tell you things. I could tell you things. Okay. Here's the problem with that. All right. If I tell somebody in August, you're going to walk down the street, you're going to go to a convenience store, and you're going to walk and you're going to grab 2% milk. And at the same time, that person is going to dramatically go for the same milk, and you're going to both look in each other's eyes. They will have blue eyes, dark black hair, incredibly like good looking, and like all these features about them. And their first name, it starts with a C, and they were educated, they have their doctorate actually. Like, if I said all these things to you, that's what you're going to look for. You're going to look for that person, right? But guess what? In life, it doesn't work that way. We meet people for different reasons. My favorite saying my mom always said to me when I was young was, a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Those are the reasons why people come into your life. And she was absolutely right. It's not up to me. You have the choice. You have free will. Mr. and Mrs. Wonderful could be grabbing that 2% milk at the same time as you. What if you go to the grocery store? What if you go there when I told you to, and you go for that 2% milk, and guess what? They're out. They only have whole milk. Like, those things happen. Those things happen. I love surprises. I was never one to get up and figure out what my Christmas presents were before Christmas morning, unlike my brothers who were terrible and so I want you to look at this as a gift and a surprise, to be able to be enchanted with. Who knows? Who knows? You never know. You never know how you can meet that person. And isn't it amazing? Amazing. Like the feeling of falling in love, and how authentic that feeling is. Why would I want to take that from you? Why would I want to take that from you? Because then it's not a surprise. It's not as much fun. And life is not all terrible. Like, there's a lot of beautiful things in life, and this is one of those beautiful things, is meeting somebody you love so much, and you that is your person. Sometimes you find it multiple times, and it comes in all different ways. And sometimes they're a lesson, and sometimes they're for forever. At the end of the day, it's really your choice what you want them to be. Nobody can make that decision for you.
Well, that is very well said. But if you do happen to see a redhead with a nice bum, feel free to tell me.
Redhead with a nice bum.
So,
you're not a boob guy?
No, not really. I mean, I'll take it or leave it. I won't complain, but
as I was describing that, I almost said redhead, and then I didn't. I stopped myself because I thought redheads are crazy, and then I was like, oh, guys like redheads that are crazy. And I stopped myself because I wanted to be more appropriate.
No, I openly admit I'm a nut. Redheads are crazy. You have to hear the porn star story, and you'd understand. Yeah.
Your guardian angels are putting in overtime on you. I can just see that.
Well, no, I'm actually a pretty easygoing guy, and I don't really do anything. I just stay inside all day and playing video games and stuff. But if a redhead,
Fortnite, my son's on Fortnite constantly.
well, I don't do Fortnite. I'm a bit more mature than that, but
he's lying. He does. I'm psychic. I know.
But yeah, if a redhead with a nice bum comes by, hey, drop a hint there. I can dig that. Okay, so now Christy has come in with the question for you as well. You guys are doing my job for me. I appreciate it. She wants to know, oh, this is a tough one. What causes people to know or see into the spiritual realm?
What causes people to know or see into the spiritual realm?
Yeah, I don't know if that can.
I don't think that it can be. Yeah, I think that it's really a matter of mind. Are you open to it? And even if you're not open to it, like I wasn't, because I didn't even really understand what it was. Some people are just born with the extrasensory abilities a lot stronger than others. Some are not. Sorry.
Okay.
Actually, I totally was like sensing like a spirit right behind me.
Oh, snap.
I don't know if you noticed that I went like this.
I did see that.
Yeah. I could literally see in my camera, and I was like, I could literally see like over my head. I was like, oh, like, I feel that.
I did that one time when I was speaking to someone privately, and over my shoulder, I saw something, and I was like, "What the heck was that?"
As my dog was standing on the bed, instead of barking, she was staring straight at the direction that I could see. I felt this being going by me. So yeah, it kind of freaks you out.
Yeah, unexpected.
I would be lying. I have my boundaries up very strong. Okay. Like, I would like to pretend I'm perfect, but I'm not. All right. But one thing I had to learn at the very beginning, the reason why I got so into this is because I knew I wasn't making it up. I knew I wasn't lying. It's like, imagine, I'm not saying you're like this at all, but like, let's say your girlfriend's like, you're cheating on me, but like, you really know that you're not cheating on him, and you're like, no, I'm really not. And they're like, I want to see your phone. I want to go through your shit. You know what I mean? You're like, fine. And like, you just know, you have that feeling of just knowing you're not making this shit up. Like, that's where I'm coming from it. And I've been coming through my whole life. So then when I had the ability to start seeing people doing actual mediumship, like I'll never forget the first time the show Crossing Over with John Edwards was on TV. He's my favorite. I love John Edwards. I went to one of his shows.
Really?
And I tell you, like, I fangirled out, man.
I'm on John! Oh, I love you, John. Please sense it. I need you. Oh.
I had a John Holland right here, like, sitting in the audience. And of course, I look over and I'm like, I know a lot of these people, so I'm like,
OBS just disconnected. Issues again. All right. All right. So we just had a technical hiccup. For whatever reason, the streaming decided to quickly die, but it's back. We're good. So
I'll give you an example of why that happens, if that can help you.
Go ahead.
For me, this is a frequent thing of the screen freezing or having technical difficulties, my battery getting drained, because I'm drawing a lot of attention right now. I'm talking about the spiritual world. I'm talking about my realm. I am a moth to a flame. So I have a large audience right now actually around me of spirit beings that are literally just like chilling. They're just chilling, and they just, like, remember I told you I felt all of a sudden I felt like, if I can feel them.
Yeah, I always equate it to almost like being that lighthouse, and just you see that light, you come to it. Whereas, you might not see anything else. Oh, what's going on over here? And, it helps that you're a really positive person. So everyone's like, yeah, party over here. But this actually takes me to something that I think is interesting. How do you protect yourself and put up your boundaries?
That's a very good question.
Oh.
That one. So we get, like I said, I want to go back to this quick, and then I'll answer that question. A lot of these technical glitches that I get when I'm talking to people who are doing readings, it's because our souls are energetic beings, and this is just a vessel. So when we are on the other side of the veil and they're coming close to me, like vibrationally close to me, they affect the screen, they affect the energy that's in my phone or on my laptop or whatever, my iPad, whatever device I'm using, it gets affected. So what I have to do is I have to ask them to back up a little bit because they affect my shit.
Back up some, guys, please. Thank you.
Okay, now we're gonna go back to your question. I'm sorry, I've been like working since 6 a.m. so I'm trying to remember what your question even was.
How do you protect yourself and put up boundaries?
I make it. There's so many things I do. Well, first off, I had to make it really clear what I was okay with and what I wasn't okay with. My guides, everybody has more than one guide. We have a team, and some of them are there our whole lives, and some of them come in and out at different times, just kind of tagging off. Don't want to deal with her shit. Now I'll put up with her. I'll help her figure it out. and then they tag out again, and the other ones are there always. And they just pretty much like, they know they know me. They know me better than I know me, and they know what I'm okay with. It helps to verbalize it to myself. It helped me to make it clear to myself, I am not okay with them touching me. I am not okay with them. I don't want to see them with my eyeballs because I've seen them enough with my eyeballs. And even, yes, at 41 years old, it freaks me out when you're in your room and it is a dark night and it is dark and you roll over and there's a being standing right there. I don't care who the heck you are. Okay. If you were married, you'd probably throw your wife at them.
Oh, in a heartbeat. I'm a coward. Every man for themselves.
Exactly. So, I mean, that freaks me out. And then also my third was being touched. Don't touch me, because it always happens while I'm sleeping. I'm not going to say always, because now they're going to touch me during the day too, but it happens a lot while everything's quiet. I'm in a vibrational space that I'm now astrologically out of because when you're sleeping, you're about 3 feet above your body, your soul. Okay. And so I know it's another big concept there, but it's like that's when they can get to me and they can touch me, and it happens so frequently. It freaked me out. It still happened to me actually just like a month ago, not even a month ago. It was like 3 weeks ago. I got totally which brings me to now I didn't have a fourth rule. Those were my 3 rules. Now I have a fourth rule. Don't throw my shit across the room.
Oh.
Yeah. I had a negative entity that it was my fault, my bad. I messed up. I allowed them to, I didn't close myself out properly. I did readings all day long. I had done 13 readings that day, and I was waiting any second to hear if my grandfather passed away. And I was just in a bad place in my mind. I was exhausted, and guess where I was? At a bar. On the beach. Yeah, I had a lot going on that night.
You must have. What the heck?
Yeah. So the problem was not just really physically where I was, vibrationally, my space. I got out of, after an entire day of everybody's energy. So like, let's say all day long, this is a great analogy. One of my guides is giving me this analogy to use right now. Let's say that you have a classroom full of, he's saying 3-year-olds, and they're all eating food and getting like food on the shirt. And now all these 3-year-olds all day long are taking turns wearing the same t-shirt. What happens to that t-shirt by the end of the day? It's totally ratchet and disgusting, right?
Yeah.
So like, that's what happens to your energy with your body, is it just gets gross at the end of the day of dealing with like all the goo and all the negativity and all of everybody's drama and shit and bullshit and everything. And so after 13 readings, it's like, now not only do I have my own stuff going on, but now I've sat down and I've opened myself up energetically to 13 people, and every single one of these people, all of their people, which we're talking on a multi-dimensional level, or with them. Okay. And then I didn't close myself up properly. And what I mean by that is usually I've narrowed it down to such a quick, like prayer and a quick, just like sage, or I usually use Palo Santo. I should do those things more often. It's funny because it's like you get to do this work all the time, and then you just forget the little things once in a while that I teach my classes about, like opening yourself up properly, closing yourself down properly. It doesn't matter how many readings I do, or how many YouTubes I do, or how many people I talk to, or how many readings I do. And I still have to remember to do those things, because if I don't, bad things can happen to me. And the way that they get represented is bad luck. You'll start noticing bad luck. You'll physically feel like crap. Okay. You'll feel extra exhausted. You'll feel extra moody. You'll have sometimes thoughts that are just really not your thoughts. Like, let's say all of a sudden my mood completely changed, and I was like, I am so negative, and I'm, I hate being here, and I'm so miserable. You guys would be like, this girl's bipolar. She's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe that's normal for you, but
no, I've seen that happen a couple of times actually.
my head starts spinning.
So I mean, hey, if you're pulling some Linda Blair, I mean, go right on ahead. Make for good footage and entertainment, I guess.
Really though, I mean, it comes in all different ways to show you that you have a negative attachment. One of those thoughts for me when I'm noticing for real that I have a real negative attachment is I'll start thinking about just like all of a sudden I'll start feeling like, why am I here? Why do I want to be here? I don't want to be here. I don't want to be on this earth. Heaven is better. Like I'll be thinking of suicide and stuff. Do I really think that way? No, I don't. You know what I mean? But do I really feel that way? Absolutely not. So you need to ask yourself those questions because that could be a negative entity that is affecting you and not actually your thoughts, but spirit thoughts, but it's hearing your voice and trying to figure it all out. Did that sound complicated?
No, I get where you're coming from and what you're saying. It's almost
You
like
their energy all of the time, all day from everywhere. And if you don't at least like close yourself off right when you're doing my line of work, it can really affect you. And so this negative entity decided he was going to get my attention because he wasn't getting it any other way. I'm looking up, I have an altar right here that has like, it's not like a creepy altar with like skulls or anything. It's like, we're talking about like bunny stones.
oh,
You know what I mean? Like heart-shaped rocks and pictures of my family. And I wrote myself a $300,000 check. And I have that on my
no, hey,
altar.
it's something to that.
Someday.
Yeah.
For Jim Carrey. And then I have, let's see, I have a $5 scratch ticket that I won a year ago.
Oh, congrats.
And then I have all these great pictures of unfortunately family members and friends that have passed, but also some really like amazing memories that I just love to think about. And my altar is like directly across from where I sit most of the time. So that way I can just look at it and just think about, I don't look at it and think like, oh, negative. No, like I look at it and I think of like everything loving and positive. So anyway, this negative entity I had a picture of my brother. He was in the 10th Mountain Division in the Army. So I had this Army picture, and then it was kind of an inside joke, but I got like a sunflower picture frame. Big,
Yeah,
big,
because
big Army man, and I put him in a flower frame.
I
And
mean, you know what though? It's something really lovely about that. It's like, yeah, really. But here's a sunflower.
there's my brother.
Well, yeah,
And
it also shows like that it's caring there and all that. So I like that.
thank you. Yeah. And so this entity got my attention by not only touching my freaking shit on my altar, but throwing my frame down and smashing it.
Bad
And
move.
that picture had been sitting there and very comfortably. And there was no movement. There's no way it could be moved. Even crazy dog Gypsy over here that's barking all the time and going crazy during this whole podcast. I do a million readings a day and everything. And like, she's never like that. But obviously during yours, she's like, hey, mom's going to do a podcast. So I'm going to just go insane.
That's okay. I mean, honestly, it seems to happen a lot, so it's okay. Um, okay, so a couple of questions, and then we're going to get to our little closer. Nick, and I know where Nick is coming from with this. You're being a mess starter slightly, Nick. I'm joking, but
Oh, great.
I know where he's coming from. And
You
your
have a beard. Guys with the beards are mess starters. I'm just kidding.
um, he would like to know, and to your knowledge, is there anything remotely credible about psychics dating celebrities? An example being Elvis Presley. It's a story to this. And
Really?
yeah, it's just, yeah. And
Oh, okay.
do spirits take interest in mortal flesh? Before you answer that latter part, I have heard stories about some spirits getting freaky with people. Mind you, I've never done it, never will do it, not interested.
Let's
But
talk about that
but
for a
I've heard
second.
stories.
That's a good one. That actually is a very valid question. So I had a client that I was working with. I was in LNA and I was working in a very haunted building. And she had a lot of incapacitating issues mentally. Okay. And a little physically too. And then one day she told me that she was being touched at night. And this is before I really started doing readings and like really started like on this whole, okay, this is what I'm gonna do now. I'm not gonna be an X-ray tech anymore. I'm gonna do this, you know. And she told me, she said, I feel like something's molesting me. And this poor girl, it's like she had no credibility because of where her mental state was at. And so one day when I was in her room, I don't know, I just had this feeling. This feeling came over me, take a picture now. And I did. And then I heard again, take another picture. And I did. And then when I did, and I looked at my pictures on my phone, and this was like not a great cell phone because this was 10 years ago, And so it's like an iPhone 5 or something. But when I looked at the picture, clearly there was a face and you could see the eyes, you could see the pupils in the eyes, you could see the mouth, you could see the jawline, you could see the face. And so I can't remember how I found this information out now, but as in, is there something credible to this part of it or the celebrity part of it? But I will say there's something credible to this because what you're discussing right now is called third dimensional beings. And what that means is earthbound spirits that for whatever purpose they have, they refuse to cross over. Usually it's because of fear. And also because whatever you are, those characteristics, Nick, that we were discussing as a 5-year-old that you still are now, my Abbie essence is still the same as it was when I was 5. I just know better now. There are characteristics of humanity that are disgusting, and some of these beings like to affect and like these characteristics of themselves, and they don't want to cross over fully. I do not believe that anybody should be stuck. It doesn't matter how sick you are as a human. You should not be here on this earthly plane in this dimension. And these third dimensional beings sometimes can be really wreaking some havoc. So if they were in life a molester, we'll say in death, they could still be, these characteristics of them that way too. That's a personality characteristic of that being that they're refusing. And that usually, it seems like from what I've heard, that usually only happens in third dimensional beings. And below, third dimensional and below. So we're talking earthbound spirits and below. I've never heard. I only work with fifth dimensional beings and above, remember? So we're talking about already in heaven. I talk to your grandma. I talk to your cat. Yes, I talk to cats. I talked to your dog when you were a kid. I talked to your Uncle Joe. It's like those are the people that I communicate with. And then our angels, our ascended masters, those are the ones I communicate with. These earthbound spirits, I can cross them over. I can pray for them. I can do these things. I just don't want to. It's like when people ask me if I will. I got an email from I have a channel, psychic medium Abbie, and ABBIE. And I had an email from somebody from South Africa that actually they worked with the police department down there, and there's this huge case that's been open about this poor girl that was murdered. And they really she saw my YouTube. She's a detective, and she's like, I really just like want you to take a look at this. Are you interested in doing a YouTube on this murder? And just like her poor father's being blamed for it and all this stuff. Oh. I was getting, I like James Van Praagh talks about this too, like that kind of work, being a medium for like people that are, have gone through those horrific things. It's awful. It puts me in a state of vibration that I don't like to think about and I don't like to be in. Who likes to see an innocent girl murdered and that whole situation. I have situations in my life that are not as nearly as bad, but it's just like I still have my own life to live and my own thought processes I need to have as Abbie human to stay positive, to get through my day and take care of my son. So I don't want to think about those things, you know. The second part of that question with the Elvis.
Yeah, the dating deceased celebrities. I know where he's coming from with that, and most people say the same thing. Like, what? Who? What? Yeah. And so, just
I will never tell somebody they're not channeling, ever, ever. I will never tell somebody they're not channeling. If they feel like that's what they're doing, and that is indeed what they feel like they're doing, who am I to tell somebody that they're wrong? You know, I wouldn't like it if somebody did that to me, and I don't think somebody has a right to do that to me. Nobody is allowed to take away what comes into my mind. That is one thing nobody's allowed to do. You know, so sure. If Elvis is your boyfriend now, fuck, I got Leonardo DiCaprio, man. He doesn't know it yet, but I got him.
well, I always say Elizabeth Hurley for me. So,
Actually, Leo these days though, he's looking a lot like Jack Nicholson.
which is funny because he kind of replaced Jack Nicholson as like that lover boy type thing. So,
I miss Leo from like Titanic.
oh, you're such a girl. Um, No, Nick.
Ow, what?
Nick, it's nothing to be sorry about. We're having fun. It's a question. You're cool, man. Don't worry. Okay, so let's get to our final thing, our little closer here, and this is something that I was interested in. You channeled a tall white alien. Oh, that face just said it all. That was the look of, oh, why? Please take us through that. What's going on there?
Okay, here's what's going on. I literally, when I was a kid, even though I have all this psychic mediumshipness, right, there are still things that affect you, like how you were raised, your religion, your belief system. Like there are still certain parts of it that you either shut off or you keep some of it. And for me, it was like I just I just never believed like in extraterrestrials when I was a kid. I just was like I don't know. I just didn't believe in it. And then obviously they started getting older and started venturing more into my spirituality and who I am and all that comes along with it. I started getting open to some crazy shit, and one of them was ETs. And let me tell you, the day I figured out that they were real, I was like, so I wasn't too excited about it because it was like, as much as I talk to dead people, it's like, imagine if all of a sudden you start talking to dead people. Like, it's just that, like, it's out of my, like, comfort zone because I hadn't opened myself up to, I'd maybe been doing it many times before, but, like, I wasn't recognizing that. So once I started recognizing that and doing that, it was, like, the whole thought process of, like, whoa, yo, man, like, this is outside my comfort zone.
You would get along fine with Bonnie. I know you don't know who Bonnie is, but she's a psychic friend of mine, and she's terrified of extraterrestrials.
I just like I just don't have interest. Like I don't know. And then my friend Sadie, I do my YouTube's wish. She was like, "Come on, please do it for me." And I was like, "Okay, well now you just brought him in, and now I can't." So fuck you too, man.
So, what was it like, though? Just how does that channeling and energy compare to versus Uncle Joe coming in?
um, it really is up to me because it's because it is out of my comfort zone. So for me, it came a little bit more in waves
Mhm.
of feeling the vibrational frequency because it was really intense. She was Pleiadian. And it was really intense energy, and it wasn't something I was like used to allowing myself to open myself up to. So that was the first time I had done it, the one that you saw. And so it was more my own energy about what I would allow. And then once I felt like, okay, she good. That's when she was beautiful. I mean, her energy was beautiful. She was beautiful. She made me feel very at peace. She made me feel very tranquil. She made me feel very comfortable. I felt no interrogation by her, no like probing of any kind, like she was amazing. She was beautiful, and she was just, I just felt this overall kindness from her of like, look, I'm just here to communicate with you and help you. Like, I really care, and that authenticity that, somebody had mentioned about me, that's to me my biggest compliment I will ever get. That when people tell me that they see that I'm sincere or they see that I'm authentic, because, it's like you can always just tell those people, you can. And that's one of the things why John Edwards was my favorite. Because I saw him on Crossing Over for the first time and I was like, wait a second, like this guy, he can talk to dead people. Wait a second, like, but he's so down to earth. He's so chill. Like, yeah, he is on the show, but he could just be anybody, and I loved that about him, was just his humanness.
Yeah. That goes
you
a
know,
long way.
yeah,
And I have to say, it's very interesting that
absolutely.
uh, Pleiadian came to you. It makes me wonder if you have a little Pleiadian. There it is. I was wondering now. It makes me wonder if you have a little Pleiadian DNA in you, because
We all have alien DNA in
well,
us.
because
We're all little stardust there, honey.
well, oh boy, I got the crazies. Um, Traditionally in the Americas, we have grays and reptilians, and Pleiadians. They don't really show up in this area too much. So that's very interesting. You connected. That's freaking awesome and pretty rare. It was someone I was speaking to a
I
long.
know quite a few people that have connected with Palladians. The Greys, not so much. I won't connect with Greys.
Yeah, they're a little scary.
Yeah, the small Greys I'm all set with, but I'm okay with Palladians.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, well,
They cool.
next up, if they came, probably an Arcturian will come next. Now that'll be something. You will know because you'll see sparkles for
I'll
them.
tell you what, though, I will make something show up if my kid does not go to bed right now.
Uh-oh.
I can hear him in the next room jumping around. I'm like, I told you 9 o'clock.
Well,
So
the good thing is
running in
we
there, grabbing my Palladian and telling him shut up and go to bed.
the good thing is we are at our end. Time really flew. It didn't even feel like an hour.
Okay, so
Oh, wait,
brightsideMediumship.com.
hold up. Right when I say that, freaking OBS just decided to crash. Like, no, you're not saying nothing. We're back now, so go ahead and say it.
My guide's fucking with me. All right, so I have a YouTube channel. It's called Psychic Medium Abbie, Abbie. So you can look me up on my YouTube. And then I have a website. It's brightsidemediumship.com. So.
Oh, that's it. Anything else? Or you
I don't know what my Instagram is.
Well, don't worry. I was ahead of the game. Those links are in the description below.
I do have a TikTok, which I should do more of. My son's always like, Mom, like, you need to do cooler things. Like, let me throw eggs at you. And I'm like, that's not cool. That's not
Yeah,
cool
no, that's for dumb teenagers. Don't do that.
I do have a TikTok. I think it's Abbie _ brightside medium.
Okay. So I'll have to hunt that one down. I'll put it in the link a little later.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being here, Abbie. Everyone seemed to really like you, so I'm going to have to get you back on in the future if you're cool with that.
I am totally cool with that.
So, also, guys, don't forget to follow Unexplained Possibilities on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, all that good stuff. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and always remember, there are things that go bump in the night. Go ahead and tell them hi. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.